Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly collective reading. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. It's good to see all of you. Today, you picked a really nice special topic, which is to basically be the storm. I use the imagery of Thor in the description here, but basically to break through stagnation. This is good because not always do we look at something where there's an opportunity for healing or sort of like release. And I always, as a reader, like that because it untethers you. So thank you for choosing a slightly more challenging, but ultimately more rewarding topic. So I tried also not to put like an obvious one, like, you know, whatever needs to come through. I thought there were some areas that we needed to focus on, and I think you chose a great one. So thank you so much. If you're new here, as you can see, we do a lot in a little bit of time, so there's something for everyone. We'll start with channeled messages, move on to a 7-day forecast, check in with all the elements, and then we'll get into the special topic that I just talked about. I know many of you like to look at Apollo, so he's actually very well behaved right now. I probably spoke too soon because he heard me say that, but he's a good boy. All right, we're going to get into those channeled messages first and foremost, and there was a lot that came through. As I was tuning into dreams this morning, oddly enough, we'd done a meditation for the new moon where I kind of took us to the moon. And when I was dreaming last night, thinking about what was important to talk about today, I was there in the lunar landscape. It was kind of interesting because one of the things that I was looking at was cycles of life and death, like on the planet. Even before we came here, you know, there were many different species that came and go, whether it was the, or came and went, I should say, whether it was the trilobites or the dinosaurs or whatever. And when I say that they came and went, the dinosaurs were here for a minute or two. But it kind of reminds you of the impermanence of life and the importance of making the most of this time, however long it might be, and allowing for that to kind of help us prioritize what to put our mental energy into. The other thing that I was looking at was conversations, contracts, and negotiations. And as we enter into this new period of time, really making sure that we're being mindful of what we agree to, like keeping your promises, and also pushing back on anybody that tries to make you promise or do something that you don't feel right about doing. Really tune into what is reciprocated, what feels good, and this is a time to create a new cycle. We're a couple days into this new moon, but I'm still feeling the energy around possibilities here. And so we'll take a look at that. And as we get through the stagnating energy that is a part of this, then we can hopefully focus on the breakthrough. Let me see what else I wanted to oh yeah, there was a lot of energy around timelines and time traveling. So it's so interesting because if you were to kind of, I was thinking of the movie Interstellar, where I was listening to like one of the screenwriters talk about how they talked to a scientist, trying to figure out how they could make all of this work. And there's this space above our sort of 3D world where past, present, and future kind of mushes together. And my experience talking to guides and those who have been like my deceased relatives and everything is that it is very fluid there. What seems like years here may be very short on the other side. So looking at current situations and thinking, how can I change my trajectory and my direction now? You can't go back and change the past, but you can reframe it. And so as we look at where some of the stagnation might be, it could also exist in some of those past experiences and exchanges. So I want to look at if we can shift the timeline for some of you as well. All right, let's give Apollo a snack. He caught my attention in the background because he's chewing the rug again. He gets nervous sometimes when we start talking about all this stuff. But there you go. He's getting very excited now because a snack is incoming. Here you go, buddy. That'll keep him busy for a second. All right, let's get started on the 7-day forecast. So we're going to look into the week ahead, hopefully helping us navigate any twists, turns, and opportunities that has in store. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Take a deep breath if you haven't already. Let go of anything that you might be holding on to as you come into this reading. And let me select a deck here. I think I'm going to use this one here because it's right here. All right, and let's set the intention to receive whatever we need to, not getting too much in the way of of what has to come through. So I like to create a circle of light around the body, welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. And with gratitude, we welcome the messages that they are bringing forth for the collective in the week ahead. There you go. All right, we got a lot of uprights and reversals. It's pretty even this week, so that's good. Let's begin with the energy for today, this Sunday. All right, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. If you need something, ask. You never know until you ask. If something isn't good enough, push back and negotiate. I mentioned the energy of like negotiation and contracts. And it's making sure that both sides get what they need. An Ace of Pentacles in reverse can also be a decision to take existing resources and invest them. Say, you know what, I want some of this time for myself so I can focus on this. I'm going to take some of this money and invest it in school, education, health, well-being. And as we're looking at the next week, because we kind of do this each week, see what you can do to reorganize. It's not so overwhelming when you're just looking at 7 days versus like 7 months. The other thing with this one is I keep looking at the hand. It can either be reaching for or pushing back. Just make sure that it feels natural. If there's anything that's forced, it's not the right time. Wait, sleep on it. Give it a couple of days, okay? Intentions are only as good as the follow through. So if there's something that you really feel connected to in this moment in time, I'm imagining sort of like this Two of Pentacles moment. There might be something, it's a little bit of both, something that you're going to say, not right now, this instead. And you're going to plant that seed of intention. And I feel like we're looking at that end game here with that. So really focus, really have faith, and then also have the follow through that's necessary for things to go to the next level, okay? Pretty good energy for Sunday. At the beginning of the week, progress may take a moment or two to kind of like fully engage. One step forward, maybe a half step back, but you're still getting there. I love what, this is Rachel True's deck, True Heart Intuitive. I love what she did with this illustration here where the Fool is in a liminal space. She's half in, half out. And it takes time sometimes for things to develop or take shape. So give yourself time. And if you need to ask for help or clarity. The other thing here is don't expect something to happen overnight. So this is very true of, like, think of a first day at work or first day of school. You are not ready to fully judge the situation based on that first day. There's a lot of things that are going to, you know, they are what they are, but when you're meeting people, they may be a little bit off. They may be a little bit more reserved. If you're trying to understand a situation, it could be easier or more complex than you think. So give it time to fully flesh out and develop, and that's going to help you. And get some perspective on things. Get out and take time to smell the flowers, as we see here with the Fool. Getting perspective, getting some distance on things is going to be really, really important. Don't carry with you anything that is too heavy as far as like grievances, fears, anxieties, even sort of just baggage, emotional baggage. So as we kick off the week, if there's someone that you need to talk to about, again, any of these fears, anxieties, or uncertainties, now would be the perfect time to do just that. Just take it one step at a time. Anything that you might be embarking on, don't overcomplicate it unnecessarily. And that's the main takeaway there. Okay, let's go to, by the way, if you do have any sort of important conversation, it would be really good to meet someone face to face, maybe even take it from a traditional space outside or something a little bit looser or more playful. Let's go to Tuesday. All right, for Tuesday, we have Five of Pentacles. This is an interesting interpretation because I'll pull the traditional one in a second if I can find it, but typically we see two people outside of shelter or sanctuary, but they're unwilling or unable to go and reach out for help. So we get the outsider energy. It's like someone looking through like a door, whatever you call that, viewing angle there. Peephole, I guess is what it's called, but there should be a better word for it. But you can also think of like a camera or sort of like a telescope. you're trying to get the view of it, but it's a small lens, it's a small perspective, and sometimes this doesn't give you the full picture. And what's important here is this is about self-worth. So you're looking at one small moment in time and not seeing it fully for what it is. The encouragement here is to reach out, open the door, engage, and don't be afraid to advocate for more, right? So let me go ahead and pull the traditional card and we'll talk a little bit more about this. You may be wondering, why does this happen? Usually because of a lack of support or rejection. And it doesn't have to be in childhood. It could be like last week. But a lot of times it brings back the wounds of the inner child. So this feeling of, will I have enough? That scarcity mentality comes through. Am I worthy? Am I okay? Did I mess up? Here we go. So front and center is a child and we have a parental figure. Neither of them have the capacity to help each other because they're both struggling. They're not necessarily even related figures here, but we just see people that need help. So there's a part of your inner child that just wants to be healed, and knowing that you're enough can sometimes be enough to get past this and say, whoever in the past couldn't help me or whoever rejected me, that wasn't the right connection anyway. We both weren't ready for whatever that was. So I'm ready now, though, and I don't want to repeat that. I don't need rejection as a teacher anymore. Now, rejection is a protective element from the divine. A lot of times you may want to have someone love you back. You may want to get a job that you think is your dream job. You may want to get into your first choice for a school. And for some reason, the rejection comes forth. But I like to look at it more as, okay, that makes you look over here, makes you look in here, makes you explore other options that wouldn't have happened if you immediately got that. Maybe you can get that eventually, but right now, something else needs to be dealt with. So rejection is more of a redirection, and it's trying to help you solve, fix, or see something else. So go to that energy on Tuesday. It's not the obvious. So if someone says no, who will say yes, or what is maybe needing to be dealt with within in order to open up other doors? There's another card, and I'm not going to go through the energy of looking at it right now, but the Lightseers deck has a person where the key is against the door, but they're not even ready to open it. They have the skeleton key, but it's just taking some time. So work on that feeling of self-worth. Ask for more. You deserve more in a situation. We want to get you to the balance portion. In health, this can just be a cold or flu. Don't overwork yourself. The other day, I kind of felt the energy of just like, oh, I might be getting sick. I just went to sleep. I got like 10 hours sleep that night, and that was enough to push my body into well-being. You can feel when you're getting worn down, and I thought, if I push myself tonight or tomorrow, I'm going to get sick. So I didn't. You can't always do it, but sometimes you can kind of get ahead of it and listen to your body, take care of yourself, and ask yourself, is it really worth it in the long run? Usually it isn't, so be kind. As we look at the midweek, we have a great card. We actually received this one today, the Four of Wands. This Four of Wands is in the reverse position, so don't rush, force, or come on too strong when it comes to connections. This is people and love and contracts, marriage, celebration, good stuff. I also see the Four of Wands as a foundational card. So if you were to connect with somebody and say, let's do this, and you have a handshake or a contract, it is something that has the capacity to like go the distance, go the long run. So while looking at this, I would say it's really important for you to focus on making sure that both parties are getting what they need. So also the Four of Wands is about give and take here. So an important thing to think about here is, are we both getting what we need out of this? And really holding space for the other person, active listening, and showing that you care about them. And we don't always see that in contracts and negotiations. So when we're looking at something from a business perspective, I think it's really important to hold space for that and let someone know that you're going above and beyond. So for instance, this may be the base entry for a salary or benefits, but you're giving them a little bit extra. Or in a relationship, you're going to cook dinner, but you went above and beyond and got something special. Just that extra little bit shows that person, not only do I have your back, but like I really want to support you. So in relationships, in negotiations, in life in general, putting in a little bit extra, knowing that you get what you give. And so in this situation, you're just giving because it feels good, but also it does open up their heart chakra. And in the long run, that's going to help out in the relationship, okay? Spend time with people who truly support you and don't put strings attached to their love, their support, or their relationship with you, okay? It is an ideal day for any sort of conversations around people. You can listen again to the daily card that I pulled yesterday for today, but it's all of that. Plus, I feel like you can, you might also be head over heels. When I look at a love card like this, I'm getting for some of you that there could just be this feeling like you're the one, whether it's friend or lover or partner in a sort of business thing. You're like, I really want this to work. Take a deep breath. Don't lose your cool. You want to show enthusiasm, but you don't want to go overboard to the point that they're feeling uncomfortable. Okay? Let's get to the energy of Thursday. We have the Empress in reverse. So sometimes it's hard to step into boundaries, like I want this or I don't want this, or do this or don't do this, but the leadership energy is very important on Thursday. This is also a card where it's important to take care of yourself. She's the universal mother in the major arcana, and she's used to taking care of, birthing, nurturing, and doing for others, not always for herself. So on Thursday, you really want to take care of you. This includes going to a doctor, getting enough sleep, doing something that brings joy, making sure that you're just setting aside some time at the end of the day to read, to take a bubble bath, whatever it is that doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's just like, I'm doing this to pamper myself a little bit. There could also be some energy around you that's a little controlling. This is maternal paternal. This can also be like a boss that just helicopters in and asks for a lot often, and it can be a little overwhelming. So if that energy is something that you're dealing with, it's also going to be important for you to have boundaries in place for that, okay? And open-mindedness keeps coming through when I'm looking at this. So this person wants to control the outcome, wants things to go exactly the way that they anticipate, but life isn't a perfect storybook ending. It's not a movie where everything is sort of like scripted out. There's twists and turns. So your ability to go with the flow on Thursday is going to be essential to success. We have a great card at the end of the week, though. I feel like you're going to sort it out. We'll talk about highlights and lowlights when we finish it out, but like I can already see a nice story taking place here. So by Friday, we have the best card in the major arcana, the World. Why is it the best? It's because it's like graduation and expansion. One thing that I would say with the World card is to imagine all of this and more beyond your wildest dreams. One thing that we can do to sometimes thwart or hold back or some kind of like create stagnation that blocks the World card is to think that this is all there is. And this card is very much encouraging you to say, why not reach for a little bit more? Why not hold out to see what else might come through? This is a great day for travel. If there's something that you need to launch or release, by the way, the card before that is showing that it's already baked, it's already done, because this is a card that is connected with birthing. And so when it's reversed, it's saying like it's overdue. So no reason to hold back when Friday comes around. Travel, expansion, launching, and then also making sure that you're going beyond even like where you think you normally could when it comes to audiences or just sort of plans and visions overall. Really great day. I also like that she's holding the globe there. So she's asking herself, what's next? Getting strategic. Because a world moment can sometimes be anticlimactic where you've accomplished a goal or a dream and then there's like this, now what? And whether that's like a graduation or an advancement or again, maybe like a project is done, I think it's really good to always have a list of 2, 3, or 4 things that you can constantly move towards. And when one's blocked, you're like, well, I'll focus on that instead. It doesn't mean you have to do all of them. It doesn't mean that there's any sort of pressure or deadlines around them. But it is good to have more than one thing so that there's always a next step. And that also helps open up multiple synchronicities where one thing may lead to another, may lead to another after that, okay? There could be love, partnership, or opportunity from afar that's coming through because the World card is something where it's not necessarily within your current sphere of people, places, or things, okay? Let's take a look at this upcoming Saturday, I should say. Temperance, you can catch your breath. That's really what temperance is about. Slow down for a second. You can continue to make progress, but also test the water to see like, okay, well, how about this? Or what about that? Gentle movement. This is also a really great card when you're looking at intuitive development because angels, spirit, and your guides in general, they don't, at least for me, I'm going to speak from experience, they don't speak in a bombastic way. It's not like this megaphone. Even when I get intuitive downloads, it's usually soft and gentle in my mind, and I have to clear my own thoughts enough so that I can hear them. This would be a great day for meditation, a great day to put things down on paper, to be gentle with yourself. The two chalices at the center can also represent making sure that you're feeling good about where you're at in a certain situation. There's usually a path behind the temperance angel. So she might also be thinking about, am I ready to take that step? So the world card represents the end of a chapter. Temperance is tuning in now and saying, of the 2 or 3 things that we just talked about having on a to-do list, where do I feel guided? What do I feel most represents my next step? Oddly enough, this usually has a month of the year that I would associate with it, which could be like April of next year. There's something that you're setting into motion that could take root like in the following year, which is amazing. So patience is important with this. The fruits of the labor come through like next year, right after the first quarter of next year. So be patient, be diligent, and this is why it's good to have a couple of layers of things that you're working on, okay? All right. Now let's take a look at Sunday, a week from today, next Sunday. 10 of Cups in reverse. There may be a lot of people in your life that want a piece of your schedule and your time. Friends and loved ones, especially family. While this is generally a very, very positive and engaging card, it can also represent like a calendar that's just too full. So feel free to say no. RSVP no to something and say, let's do this date instead. You can always reschedule, or you can just say, I'm exhausted. I would love to come, but I can't. Sorry. And take care of yourself. It's your life to live. It's not your parents. It's not your friends. It's not some advisor in your life. So focus on what is most authentic to you and feels right for you. It's harder when it comes to family to say no. There could even just be pressure from your aunt, from your mom, from your dad. When are you going to get married? When are you going to have a family? When will I be a grandmother? I get kind of silly with this, but you can just say, feel free to adopt someone if you'd like a little baby in your life. I'm good right now. If you're feeling pressured, you know, and just say, if I'm going to do something, I really want to feel a connection. It's never too early or too late. Don't enforce or put your own sort of timelines on me. I don't have any children, and my mom's passed away, but when she was alive, she actually said, thank you so much. You made a good choice in your life to not have a kid. And she said, Apollo, I'd much prefer him as a grand dog. It was easier, and I'm too old to listen to kids screaming and yelling. And I love that she evolved her view on that. And I felt authentically connected to that too. I was like, yeah, thank you also for not pressuring me. Because she never said, when are you going to make me a grandmother? She didn't want to be a grandmother also on some levels. So reframe it. A lot of times people can get used to your path. Now, if you want a kid and maybe someone's telling you you're too young or whatever, it goes both ways. You know your path best. But there is this pressure in this card to adhere to this. This is just one snapshot of 78 possibilities in tarot. So for some of us, it's just the Empress, or it might be the 3 of Cups. You might be single and mingling. Whatever it is for you, that's your path. I feel like people put too much pressure on us sometimes for what they think is right. So enough on that. If you want to get out and mix and mingle, by the way, the 10 of Cups shows that you have more capacity to make a splash than you might think possible. So for those of you that are a little bit in hermit energy, it could be good to get out there. But you're going to need to put maybe a time limit on how much time you spend with people, because the social exhaustion is real, and I definitely pick up on it with that. All right, let's look at highlights and challenges for the week ahead, and then we'll move on to the next section. Okay, so for the week ahead, today's a pretty good day. I think it's really important. You can also view this as like a compass. So really set your intention for this is what I want, this is what I don't want, imagining that the Two of Pentacles came right before this. I think that other highlights, we can't get away from Friday being really, really good energy with the world. Whether upright or reversed, the world represents a chance for you to look at the world from a different perspective. I can't remember if this came through in the reverse position, but if it was reversed, it's saying don't rush. If it's upright, it's just saying now is the time to launch, to go forward, etc. I think your challenges this week, really Tuesday is going to be one of the more challenging days because you might be taking yourself for granted or you may be overextending yourself. There is peer pressure that came through on a couple of days, Wednesday and Sunday, so be strong. And there's a lot of gentle movement energy on Monday and on Saturday here, so take your time. There's no reason to rush into something, okay? Let's move forward. We're going to now take a look at the elemental portion of this reading where we go into fire, earth, air, and water. Let me see which deck I want to use for that. By the way, while I'm picking a deck, feel free to like and subscribe. All right, let's see here. Which one wants to come forward? We'll do this one. Okay. Fire, earth, air, water. Okay, interesting. We'll begin first with fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. It's a week of healing and recalibration for you. The Three of Swords doesn't have to be like a permanent state. It can just be, all right, I'm letting that go. I know what I don't want. Now I can focus on what I want. Following this is Four of Swords, which is rest. So I would pace myself this week if I were Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, and really allow yourself to say no. This isn't what I want. I've learned from the past that it doesn't work for me. And you're valuing yourself enough to see beyond the opportunity, and you're trusting that people are going to come in and support, engage, and connect with you for exactly who you are. So know what you want, know what you don't want, speak up when you need to. It's kind of interesting. I've looked at this a lot, and I've never noticed that this center card, it reminds me of like a needle and thread. You can actually see the thread here. And also because it's so subtle. Okay, we're going to take the graphic off for a second. Can you see that there's been some hemming here, that this healing is underway? I'll pull it very close. There you can see it. So that center card is a needle, and it's starting to put stitches in the heart. Of course, this is all symbolic. You couldn't do that in an actual heart, but your heart is starting to heal. Give it time. Don't rush. Don't rush into anything. The peer pressure that we talked about can be very real. You may need a little bit of space and time. I do think it's good to engage with other people. Put time limits on it. Take care of yourself. All of that is important. And you owe it to yourself in this moment in time to do things that really bring joy and happiness. If not now, then when? We're not guaranteed any number of days on this planet. And that's not to be morbid. That's more to help you have perspective. Today, there should be something good that you do. Tomorrow there should be something good. Why wait for retirement? Who knows what your mind and body will be like in retirement? If you're in retirement, now is the time. Why put something off 5 or 10 years? And if you're young, now is the time. It's the same message. Do something kind to yourself now. Let's not do something like where you think, well, in 3 years, in 5 years, when I get this amount of money, when I do this. Create an experience, and it doesn't have to cost money, but create an experience that is rewarding this week, that supports you this week, that heals you this week. And ostensibly today. Do something today that makes you feel better. That is associated with what we saw here with this self-investment card with the Ace of Pentacles for the energy of Sunday. Okay? This will help you get to the expansive energy that we see here, and it could open up new possibilities for you. Let's not fear. This is a beautiful Three of Swords. You know, and I'm going to get some new glasses here in the next month, but I was like, oh, wait, I actually see something that I did, and that little tiny detail is so important. And sometimes you just look at it here and it all blurs, but you have to look close. So look close. Healing is happening, but it might be happening beneath the surface too. Great energy. Take care of yourselves. You're going to be fine. Get some rest this week too. Okay, we'll move on now to the earth signs. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. We have the Six of Cups. This card is reversed, but it's one of the best cards that you can pull because it represents love, friendship, also this sort of return to a playful energy. So I like that we have kids, at least a couple of kids here ostensibly. Maybe it's just her though. And then all of her imaginary friends. There is this energy of imagination, play, irreverence, and joy. All of these are comprised in the Six of Cups. Make time for that inner child to have some fun. Excuse me, I almost sneezed there. The other thing that I would say is it's important to give yourself a little bit of, I guess, some time and space to develop relationships, because maybe for some of you there hasn't been enough of an opportunity to prioritize them. So now would be a great time to do that. In the reverse position, there may be also a desire to reconnect with someone from the past, to say, hey, I miss you, or I love you, or what's going on. This can be a reunion card. It can be a connection to a past friend, even siblings. There may be a little bit of healing that you're doing this week as well. Also, this is a message for you and your inner child, for those of you that might be going through that Five of Pentacles moment. It's your turn to have like a seat at the table. You deserve to sit there with everyone else. You're one of the adults. You're equals with your peers and your leaders, and so don't feel afraid to speak up, okay? Very beautiful energy overall. You can focus on building relationships, stepping forward, like I said, and making sure that you feel like you have a seat at the table, and having some fun overall. Love what we have here for Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. Okay, and there could be a party coming through for some of you too. All right, let's move on to air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. We have the Five of Swords in reverse. This is a beautiful illustration. I mean, like, I don't love what's going on, but it helps you understand Five of Swords. Someone isn't listening or feeling listened to. Typically, I would call this like the inner saboteur that comes through and says, like this guy that's wagging his finger, you're not good enough. This isn't going to happen. I don't believe in you. Sometimes we say this to ourselves, like, I don't think I can do it. Let's let that go. The challenge is the opportunity is to let that go and to insert a question. Why not? How can I do this? When will I do this? Also, this person's talking at, not to. And there is a difference when we put that word in there, because to, you can infer that there is a give and take. At, it's a one-way sort of like connection. It's like the microphone has been turned off and they don't want to hear what you have to say. That's not fun. So if there's any situations where someone's talking at you, not to you, just go in another direction. Say, let's talk when you're ready to listen. Or I've heard everything you have to say. When you're ready, let me talk. So typically, I always say move in a new direction. But because I'm looking at you and it's collective, I would say tune out the inner saboteur, focus on things that you feel good about, and at least give things a shot. The energy of temperance this week can help you. Give it a shot. Take one step in that direction. See where you're at. Be patient. It's not all going to materialize this week. You may want it to, but it's not all going to materialize. And so don't let fear, doubt, or uncertainty step in just because you don't see the big picture right now, okay? Let me see if there's anything else that I want to talk about with this. If you see someone else that is kind of on the outside, or someone that isn't getting included because of that, you could be an advocate, you could step in, you could talk to them, because you may see someone that just isn't getting the support that they need, and you can be that support. But typically with Five of Swords, walk in another direction. It's not the right time, and we really want to focus on affirmative, positive ways of framing things up. And that is the advice for the air signs. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, have boundaries. Don't let the inner saboteur win. Okay, let's move on to water. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay, there's a lot of energy of expansion that has been held back, and that is absolutely the Sun card. So we have both the Sun and the Empress both reversed. This is the baby, the Empress is the mother, and this is about letting it go. What I love about this one, the illustrator took on a new sort of view of this card. Sometimes there are lovers in this card, but this one is showing that it has to start within. She's connecting with her solar plexus, with her power, and she realizes, I am the source. I'm the one that The most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself, not in an egocentric sort of way, but more in like, I love, respect, and accept myself. Then and only then can someone else do the same. Focusing on things in your life this week that bring in support and using your light. This is one of the stars in the major arcana. You have two, the star, but what is the sun but the word that we call our star? It is the name, but it is another star, and it's the closest one to us. So own your light, own your power, shine brightly, don't hold back. When the sun is reversed, sometimes there's a power struggle. Someone may be trying to rein in your light. You know, I'm getting something that I picked up on in intuition, and now it's coming through again. And I didn't mention it in channeled, but now I know why. It's specifically for this subset. It feels like someone's watching your every word and move and action and scrutinizing it too much. This can be a control freak in your life, and it can be anybody, male, female, etc. I really don't read gender so much in the cards, but it's someone that is afraid to let you just show what you can do. Maybe because they know that you're going to really shine. Maybe because they're just afraid that they're putting you in that like infant role always, but you're a grown adult. We saw that with the Six of Cups. We see that with this. There is this sort of difficulty in seeing people as their evolved self. So if there's anyone that has a difficulty in seeing that, create more boundaries. Just like I was instructing air signs to create boundaries with people that won't listen. If someone won't allow you to be yourself, your grown self, a lot of times it's siblings, parents, and people from the past. You've got to kind of create that safety around yourself, that kind of like the sun has a corona and sort of like this magnetic field. You have to create a magnetic field around yourself to push it out, push it back a little bit. But now is the time to release or to initiate something new. Again, birthing, creating, super powerful, super bright card. Lead, don't follow. We have all the sunflowers looking at the sun. Once you're ready to step into that, great things can happen. All right. Let's get into the special topic for today, THOR. Basically, be the storm and cut through any sort of stagnation that might be in your life. Love that. All right, I think I'm going to use the last unicorn deck. It's been a minute since I've used it. It's kind of magical, so let's lean into that one. All right, this is for everyone that's here. I feel today that I might not do the full expanded forecast. I might just I'm just going to do the main spread, and then we'll see how we're doing on time and how I feel. So we're just going to do Catalyst plus the main spread, and then I'll do what I need to do with respect to that. I may only pull a single card for each category and not go into all of it too, because I want to look a little bit more. Stagnation is going to require more of my time and energy to kind of help with. All right. I love this deck, but I can't be too harsh with it, or it's delicate. There's the Two of Pentacles, which we talked about. Okay, interesting card for the catalyst that came through. We have the Mischief card, and the crows are having some fun with this cat here. So Mischief, we did get the Seven of Swords. This would definitely be connected to that. Oh, we have a hidden card here. So knowing better, perhaps. But anyway, the Seven of Swords, hopes, fears, and opportunities. I think you're going to be able to see through someone's motives this week. Or there's something on paper that just, it's not what it's not what it appears to be. So scrutinize things a little bit more. So rather than just shaking hands and saying, yeah, let's do this, say, okay, let me think about it. I'll get back to you first thing tomorrow morning. I just want to run it past my lawyer, or I need to do a little bit of research. And if I feel good, then we'll go for it. Buy yourself the time. It's a smart, measured, and mature way to handle something. And if anyone is like, well, I need to know right now, I would say I don't know if that's the case. I was pressured once to make a decision like that, and I regretted it because there was a situation where someone actually was walking with me and they wouldn't let me go back until I made the decision. We just kept walking around in circles. And that should have been enough for me to know, because I knew that it was the wrong move, but I made it. In retrospect, I know that I learned from that situation. So if someone's holding you captive, like time-wise or location-wise or whatever, typically not a good thing. Think about like what people do with timeshares. They lock you in a room, like one of those things, oh, you can get a free lunch if you come and watch this presentation. They won't let you leave until they get your contact information. So you've got to be smart about that. If anyone's holding you captive or forcing you to look at something and make a decision now, it's the wrong choice. I just saved you time and energy. If they won't give you time to decide, it's the wrong decision. The only sort of time that this wouldn't be the case is if you already know you want something, but it came through quicker than you thought. And it's like, well, if you're ready, you can start on Monday. And you're like, oh my God, that's different. That means you got it and you just have to adjust. But if you have to make the decision now, that's a little more challenging. Even with something like that, you could buy a day or two. Say, I can work remote on Monday, but I'm not going to be able to move or get it started because you're not giving me notice. And it's a sort of courtesy thing. But I remember one of my best jobs, it was a similar thing. They're like, can you start soon? I was like, how about next week? They were like, how about this week? How about like 2 or 3 days? I was like, okay. I was excited. It was quick, but that was different. If you're excited and anticipating something joyful, great. But if you're not sure, don't do it, because there may be something more than meets the eye and they're just trying to get you to say yes before you know what you're saying yes to. Okay. Yes, red flag, as someone put in chat, for sure. Overall, pretty good spread as I'm looking at all the cards here. I like what I see. This is basically what that was about. And I like that Seven of Swords is in a mutable space. It's in hopes, fears, and opportunities. It's something that you can move past. Center of the spread, Page of Cups, reversed. One of the most important things in this moment is to take care of your emotional well-being, mental health, and emotional health. They're one and the same pretty much. But if there's something that you need help with, find a resource that works for you. And or connect with people that give you the sense of support, or just take some time and take care of you. That inner healing, especially for the signs where I've got the Three of Swords, was that like all the fire signs, I think? So that's why that came through, specifically for that group, but for everybody. Make sure that the inner child is healed. Make sure that you're happy. There could be new love or opportunity that's knocking. There is a shyness to this card. Don't rush. Remember, we got Temperance as well when I was looking at the 7-day forecast. Take your time. And the Fool. It takes time to feel out where you need to be. So everything in due time, and if it's meant to be, the person will be patient, whether it's a job, a friendship, love situation, etc. Creativity and sensitivity are really coming forth this week. Make sure you're getting enough sleep. Pay attention to your intuition. Pay attention to your dreams. The sensitivity will lead you in the right direction. You're picking up on things that you maybe didn't before, okay? Crossing this card, we have a very good energy here in the Wheel of Fortune. This is a gorgeous take on that. I love the stained window here, a stained glass window. So the Wheel of Fortune can be a cyclical shift. So that's cool because the whole idea here is to break through stagnation and make a better cycle. That's why, so the first block, we got the first block, which is emotions. There could be something where you just need to heal the heart first. You might be grieving a loss. You might be angry that something didn't work. You might be licking the wounds after a perceived failure. I use air quotes because every situation is a teaching opportunity. Failure doesn't have to be failure if you learn from it and don't repeat. But whatever it is, you have to reframe it and you have to deal with it first. Then we see expansion coming through. New job, new opportunity, new path. And it takes time. The Wheel of Fortune is like a clock sometimes. And it takes time to sort of set it, wind it up, and allow everything to start ticking in the right direction. So that's what I'm getting here, even though we're looking at the stained glass. Because the stained glass metaphor is here, it's also like myriad. There's lots of little facets to it. And so there's more than one way to make something happen. So if you did try something and there was, again, a perceived failure, that was one way, that was one path. I was thinking of this. I've lived in Los Angeles for a long time now. I've been here 23 years. I've been in California 25 years. That's a long time. I know about 15 different ways to get to any spot. And I'm thinking of moving to a different country sometime soon. And so I thought that's one thing that I would miss, is being able to quickly just say, well, I can take that road, I can take that road, I can do this. So, but that sort of energy of knowing that there's more than one way is very freeing. You have to know this if you're in Los Angeles, because traffic. So know this from my own experience. It might be worth taking the longer route, because it could take less time sometimes than just waiting in line in this where the traffic's backed up for 10 miles. So the winding path isn't always the worst path. You meet new people, you experience new things, and sometimes you get to the finish line quicker than you thought, because there are unforeseen blocks that are on the straight path. Straight and narrow is narrow for a reason sometimes. Don't be afraid to take a winding path, okay? Let's look at the deep past. We have a hidden card, but I'll look at the first card first. So we have the Seven of Wands in reverse. Work smarter, not harder. I like this one because it almost reminds me of like a diva, DEVA, or like a multidimensional being where you see all the arms going in all the directions. And so we kind of see that here in the unicorn. It's magical. It can be more than one place at once. Sometimes you feel like a chicken with your head cut off, though, when you're trying to do too many things. It's like I'm just going and going and going, but I'm not thinking about why I'm going because my brain's over there. So pardon the, the graphic sort of example, but that's what I'm seeing in my head. So I would say slow down a moment, get your head on straight, and ask yourself, okay, I can do all of this, but should I be doing all of this? Does this make sense right now, right here, etc.? And if not, then push back, because boundaries and limits are intrinsic to the Seven of Wands. So we have two different versions of it: the multitasking, multidimensional being that is on this one, and then we have the person here that's saying, okay, but that comes at an expense. This isn't sustainable. I'm going to get exhausted, so I'm going to push back. That person, you can see they're like, I don't want to keep doing this, so don't. All right, you can push back, you can say no. All right, so right beneath this card was Judgment. I love Judgment. Judgment represents rising up, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, and that's kind of what's happening here. She's being reborn. So I don't think it's a spoiler, because it's like in the first part of this animated film, which I need to rewatch. I actually saw this in the theaters a long time ago. But the last unicorn, the main character is a unicorn, and the unicorn is being hunted by an evil king that sort of, anyway, I don't want to give away too much or go into it too much, but this magician turns her into a new form. So this card represents transformation, and this is the unicorn as a human being here. So it helps if you see the movie before using this deck. Anyway, this is a time to be reborn and reimagine something. There's a better way. So that Seven of Wands energy where everything, it's like untenable, fine. Let's try something different. Let's reinvent. Also give yourself permission to step out of what you've done. There are cycles of growth in life that once you've kind of achieved a certain level, the mind likes to be put into something that's uncomfortable so that it can continue to learn. So I feel like some of you just might be done. You're like, done and dusted, I've done that, I want to try something different. Good. You can do this at 77, I don't care what age you're at, 37? 7 keeps coming into my mind. But like, maybe because it's been a 7-year cycle for some of you. But when it's done, and then start to explore something new, okay? There's more than one way. That is because of this beautiful stained glass thing that I'm seeing here. It's like a diamond with all the facets. There's more than one way to shine. There's more than one way to make this work. Like a Rubik's Cube, like keep working it through. There's another solution. That's one thing that I keep seeing here. All right, let me take a drink, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the Hermit card here. Okay, Hermit, recent past. So the Hermit, for some of you, you've been keeping to yourself a little bit lately. I want to get to the topic here, which is to break through stagnation. The stagnation for some of you could be the isolation, feeling like I can't be myself. Sometimes we're pushed into hermit mode, not by choice, but because we're afraid to shine. So I'm going to pull the traditional one here. Actually, I'm going to use the black and white deck because it comes across a little bit better. But the Hermit is the light in the dark, but the Hermit sometimes has to keep that star that it holds captive a little bit because it's afraid of outshining, or it's been told to keep its voice down. So sometimes we're in situations where people aren't allowing us to truly shine. So if it's a relationship, your partner has some confidence issues that they need to work with or work on. If it's a job, you're not being utilized, or you're not being allowed to sort of like be your true self, shine as brightly as you should. And in other aspects of your life, it's just saying like, now is the time to step forward and to maybe lead the path for others. So here are two cards that I want to talk about. So we have the Hermit. He's in the dark. He's shining a light. And I like this because it's exaggerated and you can actually see that the star is there. So he's already the star, but he's not ready to shine like the star is. So you've got what it takes. It's just someone in your life may want to keep you under that shroud. There's another character in the major arcana that wears that, and that's the Death card. And it's time to emerge and be reborn and to do something different. So Hermit energy. I feel like you've spent enough time researching, secluding, hermiting, and now it's time to step out there, kind of like this unicorn is, and saying, all right, let's see this from a higher perspective. Let's shine. Another, since we're looking at a deck based on movies, I love Stardust, the movie. There's a book based on it as well. The book came first. But the movie is cool because there's a pivotal scene where a character that is a star chooses to shine. And it's kind of a build up to that moment. And her exact line is, what does a star do? It shines. So you are reaching a moment in your life where that can get you past any indecision, any darkness, just authenticity and being yourself. Spiritual development is a big part of this, and going onto a path that is very much connected to your heart, to your passion. In the Lightseers deck, we see this sort of cord that goes up to the star as well. It is what you came here to do. So many of you are just receiving the call. Judgment is the call too. We don't see it in this illustration, but typically instead of the magician in the background, we'd see the Archangel Gabriel playing its horn and saying, now, rise up, do what you came here to do. You can awaken without having to transition from living to spirit. It's a rebirth. So I'm definitely getting rebirth energy. But of course, to be reborn is scary, right? It's like, well, I was comfortable doing what I was doing. I know, but now there's something new coming through, okay? Two of Wands empowers the magician and the high priestess because it allows you to recalibrate. So typically we see someone looking at the globe and then there's like things going on in the distance. Here we see someone in a liminal space. So the unicorn is on a bridge. The bridge represents a space between two things, an end and a beginning, or somewhere halfway in the journey. And we see the two bubbles around what you would normally see, like the two wands here. So you're looking and you're saying, I'm here, I want to go here. Am I missing anything? Is there a better way? Am I going to take the long road, the short road? It's a dreaming card too. And it's less confusing than the Seven of Cups, which is also a dreaming card. This is just, what do I feel? What do I want? How do I make it happen? Give yourself some time to do that. And realize that you might be half of the way there. The unicorn is further along the path than she realizes. She just needs to sit there for a second and say, oh, okay, let's do this. But you need to get clear, because an unempowered, I'm kind of making up a word there, but like a magician or a high priestess that doesn't take time to own their power and see and set path on what it is that they're going to do, they're kind of just haphazard. You're much more effective if you believe in yourself and you know where you're going. So get some time and space in your schedule right now to really map that out. Writing things out, mapping them out, putting them on a vision board, or just imagining them. Really useful, because then you can start to see how they all connect. Okay? I mentioned that I felt like there was a Two of Pentacles that was hidden. We got it here in the spread. So it was the card for the 7-day forecast was the Ace reverse, and I said, I feel like you have to make a choice. This if we're looking at this, this is the bridge between all of this. So this is what has happened, is happening. This is what's about to happen, most of it. And so what we see here is the choice that has to be made in the near future. Something has to be your main focus. And also, you don't have to be everything to everyone. You don't have to do everything for everyone. Saying no is powerful. It gives people a chance to find, so like if you say no to someone, then they can find a person that can do what they need instead. It opens you up to do more with what is in front of you. So no is a blessing. It's also like a full command. It's a statement. It's so powerful. One word, 2 letters, big impact. Say no and then say yes to what you really want. It's a no and a yes in the 2 of Pentacles. Create better balance in your life when it comes to things like rest, family, happiness, play, all the things that we've been talking about. And then, of course, work, money, and the other parts that would be intrinsic to a resource card. But it's beyond the resources when we're looking at the 2 of Pentacles. So to break through, to be the storm, to be the change, you have to say no to something, or you have to create better balance. Might need to balance out your schedule or your checkbook as well. It's not fun, but it's a very necessary thing sometimes, okay? You're coming through in a very good energy here. 3 of Cups. New people could be coming into your life. There could be a party. There could be a celebration. You might just be opening up to receive. This is a joyful card. It is not a card that you want to rush. I kind of mentioned this with, the peer pressure that comes through in like the 10 of Cups, 10 of Pentacles, and any of those sort of energies like the Empress. People want you to be settled. But part of life is to also to sort of like see what it is that you want. You look around a little bit, try things out. I always refer to this as kind of like being at the buffet of opportunities in life. So give yourself a chance to sample and say, how does this feel for me? Whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a place to live, you get a chance here to kind of like drink it in, taste it, and say, does this sit well with me? Does this fit for me? And only you can do this. So I encourage you to take a moment to have some fun. All right, I found a few cards that I want to talk about. All right, so here's your traditional 3 of Cups. It's playful, it's joyful. Like I said, it's mixing and it's mingling. It's also connected to October and November in the Northern Hemisphere because we have the pumpkin there. So things are happening, but give it time. Give it not just this week, but maybe next month to fully flesh out. Make time to celebrate life's little victories and little celebrations, not just the big things. Again, if there is something that you've been called to do, here's your traditional judgment card. It's saying now is the time to really step into that. And then with the 2 of Wands here, I was mentioning seeing where you're at and where you want to be next. There's a little bit of that connected with that as well. Okay, let's continue. Temperance. In the environment, take your time. You do not have to do this overnight. You don't have to do this immediately. Whoever might be rushing you, again, it feels like that's a false friend or that's a block that doesn't need to be there. So take your time and know that anything worth doing is worth doing right the first time. And you owe it to yourself to just, to basically feel it out. Here's another version of Temperance, and she's focusing more on the balance here, which connects, by the way, 2 of Pentacles and Temperance, and the, 6 of Pentacles and the Justice card. Those are all the ones that are coming to mind that represent balance. Take your time. You need to feel it in the heart. If you don't feel it in the heart, why are you doing it? Not as a pressure thing, but just like take your time. Don't rush someone else. Don't rush yourself. Tune in one step at a time. All of that is coming through. All right. The big potential block, we don't have that many this week here, but we do have a really clear one, is this. And as I said, these 2 are absolutely connected. There might be someone that's trying to get away with something. There might be someone that isn't telling you the true sort of like shape of something. I'd love for you, going back to that Temperance thing, to just sit with it for a second and think, does it make sense? Does it feel right? Invariably, I usually know like immediately if I step into a place, is this right for me? Whether it's a job or something like that, I want you to trust that initial feeling. And if it doesn't feel right, don't proceed. Call out any nonsense. And also realize, did we have both the 5? We had the 5 of Swords coming through for certain signs. I remember it in the elements. So 5 and 7 of Swords usually come through in the same reading when there's something behind the scenes like the devil energy. So with the 7 of Swords, this is someone who lacks accountability. If you are trying to sort of get an agreement in place, make sure that you write up the contract, because a handshake won't be enough, a promise might not be enough. And if someone consistently doesn't do what they're supposed to be doing, it's time to move on. It's time to cut through that. Don't worry, because I decided to go differently, we're going to look at how you can be the storm and break through stagnation, because I want to look at those separately. But one thing that could be stopping you here, that could be creating stagnation, is wasting time and energy on something or someone like this. The final card for today in this spread is the Hierophant. We already had the Hermit. The Hierophant holds the key, which is kind of cool. This is an unusual Hierophant. He kind of doesn't know what to do next, because there's usually a gatekeeper, and we don't see the gatekeeper here so much. I mean, I guess ostensibly he could be that, but I want to look at the traditional card for just a moment. You've always had the key, you've always had the capacity to do something, but it feels like there could be an internal limit. You're used to someone else giving the rubber stamp of approval. There comes a point in your life where you have to be the one that decides, I want this or I don't want this. There comes a point in our life also when parents, teachers, and authority figures, they're no longer there, right? If you are graced with enough time on the planet, typically some of these people transition into spirits. So you eventually become the Hierophant in your own life. Age, experience, and structure kind of give you what you need to do this. So there's more than one path. The 2 keys show a couple of different doors that could be opening up to you. That person that gave you advice may not be there anymore, so you have to be your own advisor. And then we have people that are willing to follow you, but you have to believe in yourself. I also see, it's interesting that they chose this, because this doesn't resonate in modern society as much. So it's about making a new system, about creating a new structure, because I see the Hierophant as sometimes overly rigid. It's super sacred. It's connected to Source. So the Star card, the Magician, the High Priestess, he's also called High Priest in some decks. All of these are showing an amazing connection to Source. But when we have one that deviates like this, it's saying maybe there's another way, because I look at him looking at that key and he's wondering, where's the other key? That's what I want to know. So there's another way. There might be another way. And it may involve going beyond an existing structure. So you could create your own. In the Lightseers deck, we have a young kid there. There's no keys. There's no followers. You've got it all within. So more modern interpretations kind of do away with that old imagery. It's good to know where it comes from, though, because when I see a deviation on that, I'm like, you might be missing something. Where's the other key? And there might be a less rigid, more rewarding path. I keep seeing wavy lines. So it doesn't matter how quickly you get there, and it doesn't matter what other people expect. As long as you are learning as you go, I think that's really key. We're deviating a little bit today. It's my choice to do so. If I feel like I still have time or I want to look at the traditional expanded, I will, but I want to free flow a little bit today. I do that every other week or every 3 weeks. I'm like, we're going to change it up today. We're going to change it up today. All right. We have stagnation. Before you can break through the storm, I want to see what you're stagnating on. So I'm just going to pull this to the side, and we're going to break free from our old. I mean, it's a perfect alignment to the topic, isn't it? I'm like, let's not do what we always do. All right. I'm going to go to this step. Where are you stagnating? That's what I want to know. What is it in your life that's creating this sense of being stuck? Oh, we love Joan of Arc. Okay. Let me just leave this to the side. So Joan of Arc came through. She was reversed. And it says, do not be afraid. Stand up for your beliefs. Not only that, she's a clairaudient. She's a psychic. She was a medium. So I'm always fascinated when intuitives, mediums, tarot readers or whatever are demonized by traditional religion, because I'm like, don't you guys believe in prophets and miracles and magic? It's all there. So literally Jesus was a medium, a psychic, and a healer. And he hung out with poor people, and he hung out with people that had made mistakes or errors. He was not judgmental. So whoever you're looking at, Joan of Arc, whatever your sort of chosen deity is, I'm like, they're all magical. So Joan of Arc is saying, trust your magic, listen to your inner voice. Literally, that's what she's known for, and speak your truth. So one of the areas of stagnation could be other people judging you and saying, you don't have a voice, or I don't believe in you, or you're weird. I think being weird is good. When you look at people that have made an impact on this world, they didn't do the status quo. They were weird. They were different. They tried something unique. They made a change. So, weird is good. Weird is great. Be weird. Listen to your inner voice. Speak up. And when people judge, they're typically afraid. Fear and ignorance inform the sort of like that sort of rhetoric of this is wrong, or you're going to burn in hell, or whatever. No, that's your vision. That's your interpretation. I'm also entitled to my own interpretation of the world. None of us can purport to say that we know it all. We wouldn't be here if we did. Anyone that says they know it all, run for the hills, because they don't. We're all discovering. And that's why they're all facets. So each organized religion, each language, each part of science, it's just one more angle into the divine truth. None of them are more or less great than the others. And when we start to judge them, that's when we run into trouble. So we need to be open-minded. We don't see it so much anymore. The past couple years in general, we've seen a closing of views. So we're going to push it open a little bit here and at least find places in our life where we can feel open to be ourselves, okay? Speak your truth, create some change, fight for what's right. She's an activist, sacred activist. So there you go. It can be a small act of activism too, whatever that might be. It could just be deciding, I'm going to do this instead of that. The freedom of thought, just allowing yourself to believe in a different way, that's an act of activism. I'll find something better, but protest. You're allowed to disagree. Freedom of thought, freedom of will. What are you going to do about it, though? The card was reversed, okay? So let's pull another card from this oracle deck, because that was very helpful. All right, so now we know what the stagnation is. What can you do to be the storm? Okay. Just going to read these as upright here, but Michael and Faith, spiritual calling, divine protection, breakthrough moment. Okay, this is why we're here today. Breakthrough, thank you so much. Michael, okay, both of these are warriors, if you will, because Joan of Arc, you see her there with the sword. She fought for what she believed in. She used her voice. She spoke up when people didn't believe in her, and she unfortunately paid for that, but she wasn't afraid to put herself out there. Archangel Michael, typically you'll see an image of him with a sword over the devil. He was able to defeat the devil. So it's a really good symbol. And I mentioned that there was a missing devil card somewhere. It doesn't even have to come through is what this is showing me. And these are just avatars and spiritual, like everything, they're symbols, even though some of these are Judeo-Christian. But anyway, divine protection, breakthrough moment, spiritual calling. This is when I was talking about judgment, very nicely connected with that as well. So are you ready to answer the call? Here's another interpretation of judgment. And rise up and try something new. What's past is past. Let it go. And know that this next step is going to be okay. The spiritual calling is connected to the star card. So I had pulled that out as an example too, and I'm like, if not now, then when? It feels like many of you are perfectly aligned for a star moment. There's just a little fear of stepping into this. Why? Because the star is one of the most visible cards. It's often connected with celebrities, public figures, actors, activists, because they're front and center. So I'll give an example of a peaceful activist like Dr. Martin Luther King or Gandhi. You don't always have to take a sword to fight. There are different ways, or Nelson Mandela, there's so many different ways to create change through peace and organization. So some of you might do that. It can also be through art. You can inspire people through music, through art, and through literature. And there are great examples of that as well. So it's not about all, there's so many different instruments of change. That's actually the way the guides are saying it, instruments of change. Rather than like a weapon of change, an instrument. So like using an instrument, whether it's a pen or a trumpet or, a screenplay, there's different ways that you can articulate and inspire change in others. A public speech, a seminar, a sermon, a TED Talk. So there's so many ways to step into that energy of change that don't involve taking up a weapon and fighting for something that you care about. So take that as you will. Okay, pretty powerful. I want to go deeper. We're going to stick with this deck because it's pretty good. And by the way, I'll link all of these later, but I'm using the Divine Masters one. I looked at the Alien earlier, and I'm like, yeah, we need something out of this world. Okay, so let's focus again on how to be the storm. Okay, I like that we're getting all these archangels coming through. Metatron and Sandalphon, sacred connection. It says synchronicity, divine connection, understanding lessons. Let's start with that. To be the storm, you have to see beyond the storm. So the storm is a tower moment. I'll pull some tarot cards on this as well, because I think this is the more challenging of the things that we're looking at. How to be the storm, how to be the change. But before moving forward, look at how you got to where you're at. Look at why things are where they are. So if you're at a point where things are starting to break down, or you're feeling blocked, and I'll specifically look at the energy of blockage in a moment, but you have to say, why am I here? Newsflash, it's not all you. It's not all like one other person. It's usually a cooperative energy. So there's environmental factors, there's internal factors, and there's some relationship factors that might be coming into it. So see the pattern, and then you can break the pattern. You have to know the rules before you can break the rules. And I used Thor as an example here, that bolt of lightning. So in order for him to go through and to break the pattern, he has to understand why. Otherwise, it's just chaos. That's Loki. We want to do Thor, not Loki. Right? Loki just likes chaos and a good show, but Thor is going to try to bring some order to it. There can be a storm, but it's going to clear and cleanse things. So there was a reason that I chose him, obviously not Loki. Metatron. I actually work with Metatron in meditation for myself. Metatron can actually, there's the word is leaving my mind right now, but it's almost like he's very mathematical, Merkaba. So there's like this multi-dimensional star associated with Metatron. But this is a moment where it's kind of like being the star. You can imagine that you're bringing that energy around you and just saying, help me see it from all angles. And I really do think it's important to take a step back, and that's what Metatron is allowing you to do, is to be a little bit more, giving you more of a worldview of this. It's not about you. It's not about the other person. It's not even about this situation. There's something bigger, and it's getting the big view of it that will help you. And then the divine connection. I strongly believe when you enter into more of a metaphysical or an intuitive path, you do need some sort of a divine connection. It could be like an earthly connection, like realizing this is a beautiful planet that has life and energy, and so like kind of more of a pagan view of it. It can be something bigger where there's a divine power or powers. It could just be understanding that there's an ebb and flow of energy, but somehow you have to connect to something bigger so that you can ground yourself and allow energy to flow through you. So find your divine connection, whatever that might be. And that will help inform you on this next path and give you a sense of I can tap into something even bigger so that I don't get exhausted. That's really what it brings you, is the sense of support and fluidity that helps you through the path. We're kind of getting heavy, but be that as it may. You chose this topic, and these are what's coming. These are the messages coming through. All right, I want to look at why some of us are blocked. Why are you blocked? Past, present, future, and then in addition to why you are blocked, show me the next steps. Crazy. We got 3 reversals, 3 uprights. Let's talk. All right. So in the energy of the past, why you're blocked. 6 of Cups came through again, and this could be to support your family and friends. I understand this. One of the reasons that I probably stayed still and stayed in the same place as long as I did was to make sure that my parents were okay. I took care of them until they were passed, into spirit. And I wasn't ready to make a significant shift or move in my life until that chapter was closed. So sometimes you can be taking care of your parents. You might be taking care of your children and saying, I want them to get into college or get on their own, and then I can make a step. You could be taking care of a partner that's sick. Now is time to take care of you too. You can't get lost in the shuffle. And if you are a caretaker and you're waiting for some moment to happen, you can't live just for that. You have to also say, well, maybe I'm going to take care of you, but I'm going to take you with me on this journey. So that's one thing that I would have allowed myself to do differently, is like, well, I can do both, and you can be a part of this and just move with me, for instance, if you're looking at something like that. So it's not always possible, especially if there's children involved, and this card is about children. But make sure that you're not getting depleted in the process, because to be a caretaker or a caregiver, you have to have enough. So whatever you need to make sure that you're getting enough, ostensibly more than enough, hopefully more than enough, please do that right now. And I get it. It's coming from a beautiful place. It's love. I want to take care of you. I want to please you. I want to do this. I don't want to leave you. Now, if you're not necessarily attached to anyone and they're like, what am I going to do without you? This can also be like, this is the devil energy that we're going to talk about here in a moment. There could be a person like a boss, for instance. Don't leave us. We won't be able to make it without you. The sassy part of me is like, that's your problem, not mine. And that's maybe something that you've created because you haven't, I've been doing the work of 10 people, but you're not going to say that. But I want you to kind of think about this and know that you just say, well, I'll give you a month's notice. I'll help you through this. You can do it in a way that but that's it. I'm doing more. I'm doing like quadruple the amount that I need to. And then that's enough. That's going to have to be enough. So you can help someone through something, but don't let their fear or anxiety anchor you. Because I can see sometimes that it's desperation, and that's what happens with businesses. But these are the same places that would sometimes just cut you, in a cost-cutting measure or something like that. So if it's an at-will employment thing, think about it from that perspective. In a relationship, it can be codependency. And then in general, yes, you can help others. We're kind of covering all the expanded forecasts with these, which is why I wasn't worried. So just know that you matter too, okay? And that there is someone out there, there is something out there that will cherish you for all that you're worth, okay? That's the karmic lesson on the stagnation. The present energy in the stagnation is overthinking. So the Page of Wands is a light bulb moment. Aha, I can do this. An ace is that. The page is taking it a step further, but they're overthinking. When it's reversed, it's saying, but what if that happens? What if this happens? Or is this good enough? Or maybe I need to do more of this. It feels like the cake is baked. That's alliterative. Take it out of the oven, move on. I think there's something that you're overthinking. Or it's so clearly not a connection, the key doesn't fit in the keyhole, that this isn't the right thing. So to me, it's obvious, or it's baked, or it's done, and all you need to do is surrender to the clarity that you already have within. Don't overthink, trust yourself, okay? Some of you might just be uninspired because a Page of Wands in reverse is basically saying my vitality, my passion, it's taken a hit. Then what is making your heart skip a beat? What is creating passion? This will help you decide what to do next, okay? Future for stagnation, or like why you're stuck. And then we're going to look at how to be the storm. More of the same. Queen of Wands in reverse. So she can do anything she sets her mind to, but she kind of feels stuck in the middle in this particular card, the way the rays of light are kind of trapping her there. So typically she's in a desert, she has her wand, there's a sunflower, there's a cat, it's magic. She can make things work when no one else can. So that's the takeaway here, is that you can make things work when no one else can. And now is the time to just trust in your ability to move through this. It can happen sooner. It can happen differently. And you don't have to do it all on your own. She's a bit of a control freak. That's the only thing with the Queen of Wands in reverse. So be willing to accept help. The universe could come in and give you a helping hand if you're ready. All right, let me take a drink, and then we're going to go into how to be the storm, which is the fun part. Okay, how to be the storm. So the Knight of Pentacles, he knows what he wants. He's not on the horse yet, but it's saying, I want this, I'm committed to this. That's one of the hardest things, is decision making. And that's what I get, grounding the decision. Because you can play around, well, one day I'll do this, or next year I'll try that, or when this happens, I'll do this. He's saying, I'm doing it. I own the decision. This is what I'm going to do next. He's also really worked at the confidence and personal value that I've been kind of hammering away at for a bit here, which is, now I truly own and respect and understand my worth, and I'm going to go advocate for it. So a lot of follow through, a lot of clarity, and a lot of confidence. That's why we had to get through those other cards first. You have to really get there, get to the point where you know yourself and you know that this is what you want. Because you are still going to have that Six of Cups energy where people come in and say, are you sure? You're going to have the Page of Wands, self-doubt. You're going to have the Queen of Wands, which is, again, imagining it's only happening in one way, shape, or form. And so all of this has to be dealt with first before you can go in and create a significant shift. Here we go. I was wondering when the Devil energy would come through, because we had Seven of Swords, we had Five of Swords. I don't think we got the Moon, but almost everyone in his court came through. So eventually, El Diablo was going to make an appearance. So what we see in this illustration is, the first word that comes through is rigidity, and strict energy. You must do it my way or the highway. Sometimes we choose the highway. So if someone gives you an ultimatum and it is that strict or that rigid, they don't think you're going to call their bluff, but I would encourage you to do so if someone is that rigid. If you do this, you're no child of mine. Wow, okay. I think I need some space from this. I think you need some time to think about this. And I think I'm going to create that space, because that is not a fair statement to make, right? Or if you truly love me, you do this. If you were only more like this, then I could love you more. And this could come in a friendship. This could even just be at work. If you just do more of this and less of that, sometimes it's not about job performance. Sometimes it's about fitting into what they want. And if it's like suffocating, then that's not it. That's when you break free. That's when you decide to enough is enough. I really do think it's important to take a look at contracts, and if something doesn't feel right, rip it up. That's another thing. Just no, we're not going to do this. I'm sorry. If this is the way you engage, then why would I even negotiate? So know this. This really helps if someone gives you a contract that's insulting and kind of smells of the devil energy. That's who you're going to deal with in the long run. It's different than if it's we need to fine tune this, or I need a little bit more here. That's different. But if it's wrong, if it's literally restrictive or wrong or feels icky, you never want to create a contract with this dude, right? It's never going to end well. They always get more than you. And if you have to fight at the beginning, you're going to have to fight at the end. So don't do it. Rip it up. So that's the first storm moment that we see. Another storm moment is in the brain. So, and I'm getting more like brainstorm. Brainstorm your way out of something, because the devil is a restrictive thought I put this in there, but I'm like, people think it's too technical. I realize sometimes after I do it, but like old programs, we are given a program when we enter into the planet from our parents. We're given another one when we go to school. They're like levels of indoctrination. Then there's also a societal one that's imprinted upon us. So all of these programs, they're stuck sometimes. And we upgrade our phone, we upgrade our computer, we upgrade all the time devices, but we don't always reboot our brain. So now is a chance for you to brainstorm around something and say, I just don't think I want to think that way anymore. What else can I do? Get inquisitive, explore the options, talk to someone else, allow yourself to open up beyond. The storm can also represent just like clouds or like clouds of doubt is what I'm seeing. So moving beyond doubt and what's the best word that I want to put? Self-effacing and also self-defeating thoughts. Limits. We need to get beyond the limit. To quote Mean Girls, there is no limit, right? Sometimes there is no limit. We need to let the universe show us what's possible. And this is fascinating. This Nine of Swords, you can actually see the connection that's creating the swords. So all of these cords that are connected to people, places, and things. The person is afraid to push back or to cut through those cords, but you have to start cutting cords. And it could be familial, it could be societal, friends, family, different connections that are just no longer healthy. That's the best way that I can articulate it. And it's okay to say enough now. One thing that gets misunderstood with cord cutting is it doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to connect with someone. You're cutting an unhealthy cord. We always have the ability to create new cords on the fly. You just cut one cord, you can create another one. You probably will. But the hope, the intention, hopefully, is that the new ones are brighter, lighter, and reciprocated so that it's not a one-way thing that's draining your battery. So that's all cord cutting is. You can cut every existing cord with everyone in your life and create better ones or new ones with new people. So we're constantly destroying and creating cords. Doesn't mean that you won't be connected to someone. Sleep, rest, and stress management are really, really essential in this moment to give you the power to be the storm maker, if you will. Because if you are fatigued, you're not as effective at doing all of that, right? All right, so I'm looking at the different cards here and seeing which deck I want to use for this. We'll do this one. What do you need to do to ultimately create that storm in your life, and what's at the other end of that storm? Sorry, a little piece of fuzz there. All right, so what do you need to do? What's on the other side? All right. I always laugh when I see the crocodile because it has a big mouth. So we have aggression, waiting, and awareness. Think before speaking. When you're ready to do something, do it in small bites. This is particularly true if there's like paperwork or steps involved with cutting cords or starting something new. The crocodile or the alligator wants to just take one big bite and it's done. That's not good. In a human body, that creates indigestion. Step back from aggressive people or situations. Avoid speaking without thinking. So this is the difference, again, between Thor and Loki. Loki just does whatever. So we want to be mindful. We really want to make this the King of Swords in reverse, because that's what I'm getting kind of energetically. I'm going to be brief. I'm going to be clear. I'm going to be concise. I'll say a few words, but they're going to really be impactful. And one of those words can just be no. That's a King of Swords or Queen of Swords reversed. No, I don't want to. No, that's not right. No, that's not enough. I'm not going to be impatient because we kept getting temperance energy coming through. And I'm not going to ignore things. I'm going to listen, I'll be aware, and I'm going to think before speaking. And I'm not going to do it in a way that is aggressive or off-putting. Being calm can be really effective for someone when they can't get a rise out of you? Just say, well, that's fascinating. I tend to disagree, and here's why. And you can just break it down with all of these facts and figures, and they're like, oh, the only time you need to raise your voice is if they're not letting you talk. Say, wait a second, I have some things to say. And then calmly, gently, methodically work your way through it. And that is a quiet storm, to quote Sade. So sometimes we need to be like quiet and strong. So helping you get through this, it's exactly what we were just talking about. It voice, progress, and cleansing. Something needs to be said. Feels like some of you might be holding on to something, and we've got Joan of Arc, we've got this big mouth crocodile, now we have this little frog coming through saying, please use your voice. And then I like the leapfrog element of this. It's amazing what can happen once you articulate it in a way that is calm, that is neutral, that is strong. Things can start to happen. You may need to also talk to someone, like a third party, that isn't so attached to the situation as I look at this little tree frog. Because if it's you trying to sort your way through it or someone else that's too attached, the objectivity is lost. So I feel like it'd be really good to talk to an advisor, a counselor, or a mentor to help you kind of frame this up. So common themes as I'm looking at all the cards on the table, we have so many, but you're right in the middle of a change. There's more than one way to make the change happen. It feels like many of you have been waiting to show your light or to shine. Now is the time. There's strategic energy that came through with these two cards, though. To know where you're going to go next is really important so that you're not just kind of doing it haphazardly. Choosing wisely how to invest your energy is going to give you more so that you can kind of make it through to the finish line. Pressure. I keep seeing like peer pressure, family pressure, and pressure from society. Pulling back a little bit and creating a norm that is one for you and you alone. But we have a lot of energy around using your voice and kind of entering into what you came to the planet to do and trusting that this is the time. Once you kind of step into that path, doors invariably just start to open up for you, okay? Definitely avoid the devil energy. Restrictive thoughts, restrictive contracts, things that aren't good enough. And that's kind of like the takeaways here. All right, we're going to meditate. And then after the meditation, we'll pull one more card. Before I get there, if you haven't liked and subscribed, now is a perfect time to do it. You can also show a little bit of support with super stickers and memberships. We'll talk more about other things at the end, but let's meditate right now. All right, I'd like you to close your eyes. Take a couple of deep breaths and really breathe. Don't just have shallow ones. Really fill up those lungs. Feel like you're almost pushing through the heart chakra. And as you exhale, imagine that if there were any shackles, if there was any darkness, if there was any anchors, that they're all breaking through, that each exhale that you take, there's like a puff of smoke that goes up into the sun and dissipates. And as you breathe in, you're pulling in more sunlight and more power into your heart space. Sit there for a second. I'd like you to really connect with the planet Earth. Feel the divine feminine energy that is Gaia. It was our first mother for humankind. This is something that we don't always connect with. There is a universal, for those of you like me that may not have a living parent right now, the Earth is one of your parents. It is here to support you in everything that you do. Give it some love today. Go out and do something kind. Water a flower, hug a tree, do something for the planet, and feel that connection and express love. Actually, we're going to use a tree metaphor or a tree imagery here. You can also do this in real life later. Imagine that you're walking in an open field and you see this beautiful tree in front of you in the distance. Keep walking towards it and imagine it's your favorite type of tree. Maybe it's a conifer, maybe it's a weeping willow, or it's a redwood. Whatever your favorite type of tree is, see that and find a place where you can sit down against the tree. Maybe there's a soft little patch of moss or grass and you find that that's really supportive for your legs and your upper back or your lower back, and then just lean into the tree. Feel the support of the tree. And imagine, if you will, that you can travel the distance all the way to the roots and also to the tippy tops of the leaves. Let's go to the roots first, connecting with the planet, going beneath the surface, almost into the deep parts of the earth that no one has ever been, feeling the sense that I am more connected than I ever have been before. Take a moment and drink in the nutrients, the water, the energy that the roots can, and feel that you are truly connected to the sustenance that is the crust of this planet. Plant your feet on the ground and push against the tree now, as you are now connecting with the strength of the trunk, reaching up now into the upper branches, leaves, and blossoms, drinking in the sunlight, breathing in the oxygen, and pulling that into your body just as the tree is pulling it into its vessels, its being as well. You are connected. You're connected to this planet. You're connected to your energy. You're connected to spirit, which is beyond this physical and corporeal self. Know that in this connection, you can make good decisions because you're picking up on frequencies. You're slowing down just like the tree has to drink it all in. This will help you inform what your next move should be, how to do it, how to be impactful, how to land on your feet if a tower moment happens. I'd like you in this moment also to open yourself up to receive. Instead of a chalice, maybe envisioning the tree like I'm ready to receive light, oxygen, sustenance, support, insight, so that I can do what I need to do in the week ahead. Take a few deep breaths. Give a few exhales to the tree because it can breathe the exhales and use that as food. Give it a hug. Say thank you. Give yourself a hug. Plant yourself firmly back on this planet and open your eyes. All right, one last card. Any question that you might have, go ahead and formulate that question. I'm going to pull a final card and see what your guides have to say. I think we went over today, but it's okay. Sometimes we have to talk a little bit more. Yes, we did, but it's all right. Okay, we have the Five of Cups in the reverse position. If it's a yes or no that you ask me, not yet. Not yet because you're not emotionally there. But when you are, there's a hidden blessing. There's something that's coming through that was worth the struggle. This is a card that really encourages you to process your emotions so that you can embrace the two upright cards, which can be friendship, opportunity, celebration. And so things are about to get a lot better. And it's okay if they're not there yet. Something that we do, not everybody, but like in spirituality is, I don't feel like it's like you don't need to rush through an emotion. Process the emotion first. Whether it's good or not so good, process it, then move forward. And that's why no matter how you formulated your question or what you were looking at, today is a day to integrate, to figure out what does this mean for me, and then move forward. Okay? Fantastic. Third and final time, maybe fourth and final time that I'll ask, if you haven't subscribed, please do it. I see a lot of people that watch this that don't subscribe. You don't have to pay to subscribe. It just shows a vote of confidence for the channel. Hitting the like button is also free and very impactful. And then when this is on replay, go ahead and leave a comment and let me know what resonated. If you'd like to show some additional support, I'll give some shout outs in a moment to everybody that that gifts a membership or joined, and anybody that gives a super chat. And to those that just received the gifted ones, welcome. In addition to that, you can follow me on social media. This week, I noticed that there was an imposter on Blue Sky. So just so you know, on all major platforms, it's usually my full name, Nicholas Ashbaugh. On Blue Sky, it's my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, because that's their form of verification. Know this, if anybody ever reaches out and sends you a direct message and says, I have a connection with you, that is not me. You should message me and blah, 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 blah. Run for the hills, like I said. It isn't real. I'm not going to direct message you and offer a product or service or try to get money from you. That's not how I operate. So be mindful of that. There's a lot of scammers out there. That person misspelled my name as well. And I know I don't have like the easiest name to sort of, but it is unique. It's not that hard, like Ash, A-S-H. They put 2 A's in it or whatever, and you could tell it was fake. Also, the page was half in Spanish, half in English. So they just hacked an account and didn't even bother to fully do it. But that's good. Usually scammers are very clear. They use the same tactics. So be smart. And if you ever need to get official information, it's on my website. The link is on my main profile page. Always look at subscriber counts. Always scroll down if something weird is happening on. There's a form on that, and someone was kind enough to let me know. So you can always fill out a form if someone is an imposter. There was one here on YouTube a week ago, a couple. And so I'm constantly, it's like whack-a-mole. They just pop up left and right. I do my best, but they're like blades of grass. They're always going to be there. You know that I operate with integrity. So if you see someone pretending to be me that doesn't operate with integrity, it's not me. Okay. All of that being said, thank you for joining today. And let's just, I feel like we need some confetti. We got through the week. We got a new week coming through. Yay for that. Thank you to everybody that showed up today. I appreciate your time, your presence. And in fact, I think I have an extra, let's see if I can still do one more for today, if I can gift some memberships. If I can, I'm going to do that. I'm going to kick it off with that. So let me see if I still have some membership gifting. I do indeed. So as I'm getting into all of this, welcome to 5 new individuals there. All right. Let's take a moment here and celebrate anybody that just had an anniversary being a member or gifted some memberships, all of the above. Okay, so Crystal Suze, thank you so much for your sticker. I appreciate it. Colette, you gifted 5 memberships. Welcome to all the new people that were able to be a part of that. And thank you, Colette, for your generosity. I appreciate that. Believe in Magic, thank you for gifting a membership as well and for giving a sticker. You're too sweet. And let's see, Ashley, thank you for gifting a membership and for being a member. That goes without saying for all the other members that have done so. Pink Malibu Girls, thank you as well for gifting a membership. We have a few stickers here. Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, Annie as well. I appreciate that. Jeannie, thank you for your sticker. And then we have some more gifted memberships. Shana or Shana, thank you for gifting 5. I appreciate that. And Jeannie, also you gifted 5. You're a rock star. Thanks. Teresa, I hope that did help. You're welcome for the calm reminder anytime. Let's see. Yolanda, also thank you for your sticker. And Shanna, thank you again for gifting a membership and then doing the sticker here. I'm glad that you were able to show up as well. And thanks for being so welcoming to everybody. And then welcome to everybody that just got a membership from me. All right, let's take a couple moments here and make sure that I didn't miss anything. I think I got it all, but I'm just going to take a quick look at supers, make sure that all of those were called out. I think they were. Yes, they were. Okay, perfect. And yeah, I think we're good to go. I don't necessarily call out all of the new welcomed members just because it gets long, but welcome to everybody new that got one of the gifted ones. You are welcome to the community here. And I do sometimes some specific member videos, but also this is just a great way to show some love and support here. So I might do something new for members in the week ahead before this is up, before this month is up, or I might do something where it's a little bit of both, where members can ask me questions, but everyone can watch it. I'll sometimes do a hybrid one like that. All right, folks, that is everything for this week. I just want to say thank you so much for being the best part of what I do on YouTube. Apollo is resting, but we saw him earlier. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourselves today, and I'll see you again, same time, same place next week. Take care, everybody. Until then.